Okay, we're live, Joe.
Okay. Good day, everyone.
Stream. Hold on a second. Okay, go.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to the Casper Association community call hosted and run by the Casper Association. On this week's call, we will provide you with a demo and discuss the Signer demo. We are joined by Amit, Jan, Maciej, George from Casper Labs, and Lee from Digital Strategies. We will open up for a Q&A towards the end of the call. So please feel free to leave your questions for Digital Strategies and Casper Labs in the YouTube comment live section here or on our Telegram, and we'll try our best to answer them towards the end of the call. Handing it off to you, Amit.
Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure in welcoming you to this week's community call. My name is Amit Patnaik, and I'm the Quality Control and Release Manager at Casper Labs. Before Casper Labs, I was managing quality for enterprise products at SAP and at MasterCard. And I'll be giving the technical updates today, followed by my colleagues who will give a talk on a very interesting topic, Casper Signer. Over to you, Jan.
Hi, I'm Jan, and at Casper Labs I work with JS Stack, mainly developing Casper Client SDK and supporting integrating it with other software. Thanks.
Over to you, Maciej.
Hello, everyone. This is Maciej from Casper Labs. I'm head of ecosystem team, and we aim to develop all kinds of tools and libraries you need for the development, including smart contracts and JavaScript integration and the browser interaction.
Over to you, George.
Yep, I'm George from Casper Labs. So I'm a software engineer working mainly with sort of React, TypeScript, and JS, and mainly focusing on the Signer at the moment.
Now, handing over to our partners, Digital Strategies, Lee.
Yeah, hey everybody, it's Lee Pennington. I'm one of the partners over at Digital Strategies, lead investor into Casper Labs, and coming today to talk to you about, what we're actually building on Casper, not only as an investment partner, but we kind of like our tech side, what we introduced into Casper Labs. And we kind of go back to like 2013 where we began as a tech company, and we've kind of brought that knowledge into the cryptocurrency world. So looking forward to kind of speaking to you about that. Martin's not on the call, so I think we can go straight into it now, Amit.
All right. Okay, so I think I'm going to move over to the technical updates. All right, so before I go into the details, the weekly highlights for this week, our testnet was upgraded to version 1.2.0 very successfully on the 19th. And the mainnet 1.2.0 is on schedule, and the staging has completed, and the activation is on the 28th of May. So call to all the validators to take note of this. And one very good news is that in the spirit of full transparency, we have started releasing our technical notes and reaching out to our communities via various mediums like blogs, Twitter, Telegram, newsletters, etc. And I would like to show a sample of the post from our release note for 1.2.0, which essentially encapsulates the major features and enhancements, the timelines, and the various call to action for various users of our networks, whether it's validators, dApp developers, contract authors, and exchanges, and the specific actions that they need to take in order to be able to upgrade to the different facets of our network that they use. So we are super excited about it, and this will be an ongoing initiative to publish our technical notes to the larger community. The final highlight for the week, engineering and testing are on schedule for our next upcoming release in June. which is 1.3.0. And let's look a little bit more. So as we know, the roadmap for 1.3.0 included some important updates to context state improvements, font stamp, event stream, protocol resilience, and perform at scale. These things were discussed earlier, and we are on target with that. For the 1.2.x upgrades, we are sharing so let me go to the engineering status. So essentially, for the 1.2, you can see all the changes that are in the release notes that we have shared. And I have already updated about the testnet and mainnet success and schedules. So the current focus again is on the redesign of the synchronizer, which is we are working on it, and there is a bunch of features that we are working on, and I just want to share the board real quick, just to give a quick view of the volume of changes that we are currently working on and our current activity. And we are on target. We actually are wrapping up the engineering work today, which is code freeze, followed by 2 weeks of intense integration testing, which starts today, which includes integration testing and stress and load tests. So, and in addition to that, we have been optimizing our NCTL tool, which facilitates the integration testing for small networks. Our ecosystem has been making several interesting changes, with respect to the JS SDK, which is up right now and has been shared with our technical release notes. The Casper Signer piece, which our colleagues are going to talk about it, and I'm more excited about that. And please if you have any question Q&A, to post them today. Yeah, so over to Alexander for the economic research part.
Good morning, everybody. This is a little bit out of date, but I am mostly working on updating our code for assigning gas costs to both host site functions and to WASM opcodes. So, and that work will be ongoing for the next several weeks, I think.
Okay, I'm going to update this right after the call. Sorry about that, the economic research part. Yeah, and so you can find all the information and links for governance status here on this roadmap status page. And we have updated this yesterday to reflect the other changes. Now for the mainnet Casper Live, I'm happy to say that we have over 80 validators currently, and 3.6 million staked, and we have block height 70,000 currently. And our testnet, which was updated to 1.2, has over 800 nodes, 800 validator nodes, so which is excellent. All right, so I think that's all from my side. Handing over to the Signer team for the demo. Do you guys want to share your screen?
Yep. So hi, this is George speaking. So I'll share my screen for you. Just give me a second. We can get started. Grand. Okay, so can you see that okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So before I get into the signer itself, I'll give a little bit of background as to why it's required. If you want to send something to the chain, a deploy or a transfer, you will need to authorize it first. It can be done in a few different ways, but the way we're going to go over today is using the browser extension that we've developed called the Signer. what I'll do is I'll start off, and feel free as you go to, if there's any questions, just drop them in the chat or the Q&A. We'll try and get to them towards the end. Also, just to note that if you're trying to follow along, this is a in development version of the signer, so it's a little bit further ahead than what's in the store. Okay, so initially you're going to be faced with creating a new vault. So if we just set a password for that. And then the first thing you're going to need to do is either import or create an account. So you can either import an account from a PEM file, or you can create an account, which is what we're going to do just now. So we just call it demo. You can select your algorithms. So currently these are the algorithms that we're going to support. You can see your public key and your secret key here. And if we just create that account, we got it here. So that's your active key at the moment. So that'll be the one that's selected for signing if an app wants to use it. You can view and manage your keys up here in the key management area. You can edit the name, delete them, although you can't delete if you've only got one key left. And you can also view your public key and your account hash. Cool. So now that you've got that, we can go onto the app. The other thing to mention with the keys is that they're all stored, the whole vault is stored encrypted under the Chrome Storage API, so it's all very secure. Once you've got your vault all set up, you can use web apps like Casper Live, and they'll ask you to sign in or connect to Signer. And when that happens, it will probably pop up like this, and you can say connect. You'll get a little confirmation there just to say what permissions you're going to give them and what they're going to be able to do. You can say connect. Now that you're connected, you're all set up to go. So this Signer demo app essentially just creates a transfer using the Casper JS SDK. It's just a really simple thing just to prove how it works. For the transfer to work, you need to add the required transfer ID. Transfer IDs can be used arbitrarily, and they can be used to link into legacy or sort of off-chain systems, for example, to link accounts, things like that. So if I just put in a random series of numbers there and we hit sign deploy, and then on the right, you'll see here, we've got our signature request, and it's got all the details of the deploy here. So we've got our signing key, the deploy hash, timestamp, the chain that it's going to target, gas cost, the type of deploy, in this case a transfer, your target parse, the amount that's going to be transferred, and of course the transfer ID that I mentioned over there. So now if we hit sign, it'll come back here, and it's got all the details now, and you can actually view the full deploy here, which will show you the entire JSON object that's returned from the signer, with the deploy hash, some details in the header to do with account and things such like that. Then you've got your payment, and then you've got your session. So this is actually what's sort of contained in the deploy, the main part of it. In this case, it's a transfer. You've got your 3 arguments there for amount, target, and ID, as mentioned earlier. And you've got your array of approvals, which has now been populated because of the signer. So you've got your signing key there, that's the public key, and then the signature for that key. And you can also have multiple approvals in here if you want to set a multi-signature kind of system up. So you'll just see a wee array of these objects like that. By and large, that's about the sum of it at the moment. It's quite a simple application. But if you have any questions, please ping in chat or let me know. Cheers.
Thank you, George.
No worries.
All right. Do you have anybody from DevDAO before you take in any questions? Any updates?
Hey guys, I'm on. So DevDAO has opened the portal last week. We had our announcement on Tuesday, big announcement call, and we now have over 40 active grant applications in the pipeline. We get additional requests every day, sometimes 10, sometimes 50. So there's a constant flow. We also have some important sprint updates that we're still engaged in. So we have weekly sprints. This week, tomorrow, we have a sprint that involves features to save and load all fields of the grant application. if those are not complete. Auto-saving for grant application for users. We had some feedback that people wanted to see that, including Meta. The following week, we have another big sprint ahead of us, where we are allowing the people who are OPs in the system to edit fields of the grant. And there's several other big sprints where we're making changes to the forms. As you can imagine, guys, these are all sprints that have inter-feature testing requirements. So, we're very, very busy. And the main focus is on improving the user experience. We also had a long meeting with digital strategies, and we really appreciate their feedback on user experience. So thank you for that. And I can stop here unless there are questions.
Thanks, Wolf.
Thanks.
So I would revert now a little bit to the Casper Signer. Thanks for the demo. It was an excellent demo. So for our viewers, would you be able to highlight, like, what is the major USP of the Casper Signer? What is the major, like, how would
you don't have to understand command line to get it done.
Excellent.
Exactly. Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's just a nice UI version, basically. Yeah. I'll let Maciej go into depth on that.
Yeah, like definitely the most important is enabling developers to build dApps that allow people to do all kinds of things on top of our blockchain. And only with that kinds of tools we are able to drive the adoption. So more and more people use it, and not that most people doesn't know how to code, how to use CLI, exactly as you said, and they need to be able to just do click, 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 and something happened. Yeah, that's why we built it, and we are maintaining it, and hopefully we will engage with the community in the development of it, or maybe community would came up with their own version. We'll see.
Excellent. So do we have any questions for us from the chat?
We've got a question here regarding staking for dummies. When do we get staking for dummies? And I believe me and Marco Annibali will be working on that. A spoiler
Whenever
alert,
you've got a minute, fly down to Dubai and let's do it.
Yeah, spoiler alert, I think I'll be the dummy in the setup of that.
Yeah, I think I can answer this question. So in order to be able to have staking for dummies, which is a clickable version that uses the signer, we had to basically deliver a signer in a shape that doesn't have any security flaws. And we did, like, along the development, we skipped few areas to make it happen and allow testing and developer interaction. So we built it for our own purposes first, and then a few months ago we just looked back and said, okay, this is the problem. Like, we've seen many things that were developed on other plugins like this that were basically better, which is like all kinds of behaviors that you might be familiar with from MetaMask, which is the most advanced tool on the blockchain space at the moment. So we looked back, we made a list. That's wrong. This we need to improve, and we are at the end of this improvement list with the latest feature that shows you what you are signing. Like, we forgot to show user what they're signing, like in the example that George showed. It was just, please do sign, and there was nothing, so user could not feel comfortable with it. I wouldn't, because this is like, just sign something. What it is, I don't know. So we are focusing on a lot of UI and the communication part of things, so people know what to do and it behaves in a way that they would expect it to behave. and now the timelines. So we plan to release the version that we believe will be usable, and we can show it to public and actually allow other websites to use it in like end of this week or early next week. That's the timeline. And then I think you'll get the front end in the following week, maybe 2 weeks after.
When you say that, are you speaking of the front end for using the delegate WASM, or
Yes.
are you just talking about? Okay, perfect. So I don't know, Joe, maybe we don't need to do our little command lines for dummies. After all, if they're going to have this out in a week.
I was looking forward to it. I think we should just do it anyway.
All
Yeah,
right, let's do
do
it
it.
anyway.
Do it anyway.
Yeah, let's do it.
More things you have, more things we have, it's better.
Yes, we should try to cater to all kinds of consumers. So whether whoever is comfortable with whatever.
Yeah, and Marco, Joe, you might want to take a look at our contract that we recently built. It's called Auction Manager. It provides, and everyone can look at it. It provides a nice API to the auction contract. It works in a way that you deploy a contract that can basically do a proxy for you. So you don't need to send a WASM file every time you want to interact with the system. So you just call it using the contract hash.
Does that reduce the gas cost?
Yeah, it decreases the gas cost greatly. Like I'm guessing
Well,
like
that's
80%
good to know.
probably.
Can you send me docs on that? That would be awesome. Now, maybe I'll change our. We have a whole script already set up for installing a local copy of a client node. And if I can get your specs for your smart contract call, then I can change out the delegate command for your auction contract, save everybody some gas, which would be nice.
Yeah, I sent it in the chat.
I got it.
If you have any questions, just ping me. I'm happy to help with.
Wonderful.
We've got a question here. When do we get ledger support directly without using a browser? So I think ledger support is between 1 and 2 months away, but that's a very vague answer to that. Is there anybody from the DevDAO that knows more about?
Austin Davis would know more.
I think I know them the most because I'm like part of the development. So happy to share where we are at the moment. So we're in the stage that you need to first understand how it works. So first you call a ledger stick from within your browser, and you send the deploy. So what George showed, you send this JSON file into the ledger, and the ledger displays then what happens. So like that may be a transfer, that may be a contract call. So you need to see everything on this like small screen, what happens. Then if you approve, the signing needs to happen, and then it needs to comes back. So we're looking at few pieces here, and all of the pieces are developed in the same time. So the two most important pieces are, of course, the Ledger app. So the Ledger app is, I don't know, I would guess like 60-70% done. Our developer right now is able to parse all the transaction and to display basic information about it. So at the moment, he's adding more and more information about the deploy. So you can understand what you're signing, and that went through some UX sessions with us. So we simplified some things. So there is no like 50 screens on Ledger, but rather let's say like 5 or 10. So this work is still going on. And on the other side, we have a JavaScript library that allows to talk to the talk to the ledger, and right now we are testing it. So one company provided it, the other company is testing it. So hopefully Casper Life will have the first implement integration with it. Yeah, that's how it looks. It's really hard to tell what's the timeline now. I would guess 2 months from now. I think we should get some better estimates in like 2 weeks. That's my guess.
Hey guys, Lee Pennington from Digital Strategies here. Have you guys actually shown Casper Sign yet on one of these calls?
No, and I would recommend that if could we talk about it today?
Sure, of course.
Awesome,
I can share my screen and basically show you how you validate on Casper Sign. Would that be okay?
Yeah, sure. Let me. Just give me 1 second. I want to talk a little bit about it before, because it's kind of exciting. So, so Casper Sign is the first dApp that is built on the Casper network, and this enables digital signatures, and this signs in digitally with Hello Sign, essentially. And we are very excited to have our first dApp built on the Casper network. So do you want to share a screen, Lee? I just wanted everybody to get a view of this because
totally,
we have partnered with Chronologic and Digital Strategy to come up with it, and you guys are here, so might as well talk about it.
Yeah, let me know when you can see my screen.
We can.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let me make sure I've got so many things open. Let me make sure it's full screen. So for everybody's listening on the call, just let me give you a little bit of background. So basically we're Digital Strategies, and we've gone on board with Casper Labs. From the very early beginning, we had a lot of discussions with them, and we were extremely excited with what they were producing and how they were doing it. But more importantly, not just the tech, but the team that they had behind it. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make in this industry at the moment is that they believe that they will simply build something and people will start to use it, and that's just not the case. So you do need a full team behind you, not only to create the product, but actually to get the product idea out there. So Digital Strategies are actually a tech company that started in about 2012, 2013. And we created quite a lot of different SaaS. We still have those SaaS products in the market now, but what we were able to do from that, and where we kind of learned our craft as such, was that we're able to understand how to not only come up with a product idea, but how to develop it and how to launch it and how to get adoption, which is the biggest thing. In about 2016, 2017, we transitioned over to the crypto world, lock, stock and barrel. But through our experience of developing software and all the teams that we have, we were able to bring that experience into this arena and really kind of use the same types of skills that we had from a development standpoint, but also from a marketing standpoint, which is really, really important. So when we start to work with a project, not only do we look at all those benefits of that project, but we also look at the value add that we can bring to a platform like Casper Labs or a project like Casper Labs. And one of the great things about Casper Labs is that we found out was that they're also doing a grant process, which kind of got us excited in the fact that we knew then we could start to work with them more closely and start to develop something. And so we went backwards and forwards with them, and we actually came up with Casper Sign. Now, Casper Sign is a fantastic way to be able to sign documents and have them on the blockchain, which obviously immutable, tamper-proof, all these things, all these benefits. And if you think about anybody in this day and age in business, they're signing contracts on a daily basis, whether it's an NDA or whether it's actually, full-blown contracts of going into deals with people. And the great thing about this is that we developed this on the Casper chain. It was the first dApp that was developed. And I also think we minted one of the first blocks on there. One of the things that we also understand as well is that the entry point sometimes for crypto can be looked at pretty difficult from people who aren't familiar with it. They're not used to creating seeds. They're not used to using MetaMask, you know, all these things which do scare them, and you kind of hear all the horror stories. So with Casper Labs, with Casper Sign, we've really made the entry point pretty easy. So there's a lot that goes on in the back end, but on the front end, it's very simple for them to use, and it's also native to what they would normally use. This currently works with HelloSign, but we can adapt it to work with other contract platforms. So I'm just going to show you very, very quickly about verifying the authenticity of a signed document and what you would see once you actually sign that document on the blockchain. All I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a signed document here. And also, this isn't a demo product. This is actually live now. And again, we'll go into that in a little bit more detail. So I'm going to upload an actual document. And I've got a Casper Sign example here. And I'm just going to drag it in to the actual box. And what's going to happen now is that it's going to validate on chain. Okay. Now, as you can see, we've actually validated that contract on the chain. This is kind of an example of what you would see, but like I mentioned, you can go to the URL and you can start to use this now. And as you can see, all the information that's brought back, we can see who signed it. We can see who signed it through HelloSign, and we can see who signed it through Casper as well. And as we go down here, we can also see who is awaiting to sign. Okay. On the right-hand side as well, you'll see the document hash, and you'll see the signed document hash and the blockchain hash. Again, through privacy, all you'll see on the actual chain is the actual hash, and you won't see the PDF or anything like that. So the contract doesn't actually go onto the chain. And you also have the timestamps as well, when it was sent for signature, when it was viewed, when it was signed, and obviously you can see on the sign and the blockchain and a little bit more information here. And we can actually go over, and we can actually now go over to Casper.live, and we can actually see that on the chain. Okay, so again, the entry point for a user who isn't that familiar with crypto, what is Casper Labs trying to achieve? Casper Labs is trying to achieve the ability to allow any business to tokenize their business, right? But they're giving them the tools to do that. And one of the things that we may ensure here at Digital Strategies and Chronologic is that we can make that entry point that much easier for companies and businesses. But again, this is live now. This is what the partnership we've done with Casper Labs. And this is why we're not only excited about the project, because they're not just walking the walk, but they're actually getting people to actually develop on the platform. And also for the ecosystem, you know, having more kind of tokens on the platform, people tokenizing their business is going to get better attention to Casper Labs, and the whole ecosystem is going to be able to grow that much quicker. So guys, I'll come back over to you now. And if you've got any questions about that, I'll try to answer them the best way I can.
Wolf, I think we got some work to do integrating this into the DevDAO application.
Let's do it. I took notes. I think we can get the teams on this really quickly.
This would save us some money too. Being the
I was just going to say, well,
I'm concerned about that.
Well, I was also saying for people who are watching this, I'm sure there's developers watching it. I'm sure there's teams of developers. You know, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about, I know you touched base on it slightly about the DevDAO grant system and the application to be able to go through that. But again, that was the first port of call that got us really excited at Digital Strategies, that Casper Labs and DevDAO were kind of reinvesting back into growing that ecosystem, which was really good for us.
Well, I can definitely say that the grant process is open. At the panel this morning in Dubai, a question was asked immediately after the panel opened the floor about the DevDAO, and Mernal very generously gave everybody the URL. So expect some traffic, Wolf. He was very explicit about it. He even spelled it out for everybody. So devxdao.com is the place to go. Yes, the process is a work in progress, and we are constantly evolving the platform to make it better, more user-friendly, and everything else. So please bear with us.
but every single one of us at the ETA, which is the legal entity that manages the DevDAO's interactions, are available to help, as are all the DevDAO members, to help people figure out how to get their grant applications in and process through as quickly as possible. We're sitting on quite a large endowment, thanks to the rather generous price the market has given us for Casper. So we're not likely to run out of money anytime soon, and we're prepared to get as much of it into the hands of developers doing great works as possible. So we expect there to be lots of interesting stuff being built, and we're looking forward to seeing the proposals to get it built.
Nice.
Thanks, Marco. I'm not sure if we have announced this earlier, but Casper Labs established a partnership with Shift Network, SHYFT, Shift Network, which is a public blockchain designed to aggregate and embed trust and validation into data stored in both public and private environments, as well as permissioned and permissionless networks. So what's going to do is that the Shift Network, which acts as a composable compliance opt-in layer that enables virtual asset service providers to contextualize and use data to comply with anti-money laundering regulations. So by building on Casper Network with Casper Labs support, the Shift Network users will be able to access a secondary layer where they can easily customize opt-in conditions, a key requirement for supporting growing demand from both public and private enterprise organizations that have to meet especially stringent compliance and KYC requirements. So this is an interesting space to be in, and happy to announce this partnership.
If I may, just to be clear on that, Shift is optional, not required by Casper Labs. For those of us libertarians out there who like the idea of being private on the blockchain.
This is an opt-in, so condition. Okay, so any more questions from the chat? Joe?
That's about it for questions relating to today's topics. And I think we're going to have Shift Network as guests in a future community call, so stay
That's good,
tuned
yeah.
for that.
Awesome.
I mean, if that's it, we can wrap it up. Thanks, Lee, and our guest from Digital Strategies for joining us today and giving that, demo of Casper Sign. Very exciting.
Joe,
Yeah.
this may be a little side topic, but just on the off chance it's okay to ask.
Yeah.
Is the Casper Association leadership on the call?
Ralph, I believe, couldn't make it. He's traveling in New York.
Oh, right.
So very busy subways. So I think he'll be back next week.
All right, then I'll wait till next week before I ask the question. How's that?
Okay. All right. Well, I want to know what it is now, but we can wrap this up. Thank you everyone for joining us live on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe so you know when we're next live. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss when we go live or upload a video. Thanks to our guests for joining us in the incredible demos that they showed.